Hello and welcome. This is Joe Valenzuela with Vista Mutual Insurance Services. Let's talk about how you apply for Medicare itself. All right, so there's a couple different things that we have to talk about. Now, this is not going to be a full explanation. It's going to be a really good enough explanation to get you started and know what you have to do. So the first thing is understanding Medicare itself. So Medicare, when we talk about applying for Medicare, we're not talking about Medicare supplements. We're not talking about Medicare Advantage plans. Those come after you apply for your Medicare. What we're talking about is original Medicare, Part A and Part B. Now, Part A, most people get premium free as long as they work 40 units or 40 quarters, so 10 years of their life inside the U.S. or their spouse did. And most people do pay a premium for Part B. There's a standard rate of $164.90, and then it can go up based on your income. So that's what we're talking about here, not the additional plans that you get after Medicare, just Medicare itself. Now, there are certain circumstances where people will get automatically enrolled into Medicare. And those are if you're currently collecting Social Security when you turn 65, about 2 months before the process will start, and they'll automatically enroll you into Medicare. Now, if you don't want this to happen, you'll have to contact them and say, I do not want to be enrolled into Medicare. Now, this doesn't necessarily happen that often when people are working because usually they're not collecting Social Security while they're working. Some people are, so it can affect them. But we always want you to talk to your benefits department too. You need to ask them whether or not they have a plan that coordinates with Medicare Part B. And even if you're trying to stay on your employer coverage, if they would like you to activate your Medicare Part B. So have a conversation with them just to see what kind of coordination their plans offer. So if you're disabled within 24 months or on the 24th month, you'll get your Medicare then as well, just like a person that turns 65. So if you are still working, then you're not going to be automatically enrolled. So let's say you're still working, you're at your employer plan, and you want to get off of that plan and go on to a Medicare in general, and get another type of Medicare plan like a Medicare supplement or Medicare Advantage. Well, you can do that, and you can do it at any time after you're 65 years old. You don't have to wait for a special election period in order to get out of your employer's plan. You don't have to wait for your employer's open enrollment, right? So if you wanted to do that, what you would do is you would contact Medicare and sign up for your Part A and your Part B, right? And to do this, there's a number of different ways. You can go into your local Social Security office. This is all done through Social Security, not through Medicare itself. You can also do it online, which is, I think, the easiest method. If you're an online person, you're able to just log in, create an account on ssa.gov, and walk through the process there. Now, you can also call them. Now, this is a little bit difficult because it's hard for them to answer the phone. You can imagine 11,000 people a day age into Medicare, so sometimes they'll ask you to create a phone appointment as well, which you can do too. Now, you have 3 months before you turn 65 in order to sign up for this if you're doing it initially. But remember, if you're doing it after you're coming off your employer plan, you have up to 8 full months to sign up for Medicare with no penalties. Now, sometimes if you're on your employer plan, what will happen is your employer will say, no, you do not have to get Part B. We don't coordinate. You can just stay on your current plan. Now, in that case, you can either choose to activate Part A or you can choose not to activate Part A. It won't interfere with anything. The only thing it will interfere with is if you have an HSA account. If you have an HSA account and you want to continue to contribute to that, you're going to have to delay enrollment in Medicare Part A as well. Within 6 months of your Part A going effective, you cannot contribute to an HSA account or there'll be some penalties. However, you can still use your HSA funds after you've gotten onto Medicare. So as long as it was 6 months ago that you put the funds in there, you can still use them going forward. Now, most of the time people will sign up directly after they get out of their employer, right? But you do have up to 8 months in order to get onto coverage without having a penalty. A lot of people will not do that because that's usually going to have a lapse in coverage for them. And how it works is if you get off your employer plan, it usually ends at the end of that month or that day, and your new coverage will take effect the first of the next month. So pretty easy to get on. You can also mail your application in, and that is the least effective way. There is a form that you have to fill out if you're just getting Medicare Part B only, and that form can be done online too, and it can be done via email, but you can also mail those forms in or walk into a Social Security office. You're going to probably spend your entire day there, but at the end of it, usually it'll all be done for you. Now, we talked a little bit about penalties, and we don't usually see the Part B as in boy penalty because there's such a large time frame to sign up without getting penalized. But the penalty is 10% per year per 12 months that you could have had coverage and chose not to. So it can be significant. And also, that's not the thing that scares me the most, because if you don't get Medicare when you're eligible to get it, then you have to wait for the open enrollment period. And that happens in January to March, but your Medicare doesn't go effective until July. So you could be left for years, months without coverage at all, which scares me more than a penalty does. But the penalty is still there as well. So in order for you to get coverage and not get a penalty, it behooves you to pick up this insurance as soon as possible. Now, if you need help or have any trouble with this, Social Security is an amazing resource. They have online chat agents. Again, you can call them. It just takes a while. And if you create an online account, you can even put a ticket in if you're having an issue. So there's a lot of different ways to sign up for Medicare. You just have to pick the one that best suits your skill level. If you're not an online person, I would not suggest going online to try it. There's some things that you can mess up during that process. Just know that if you're an in-person person, don't try to take shortcuts. Just go down to the office, spend your entire day. It's worth it. This stuff is very important to get correct. Okay, so just to wrap things up, how you can apply for Medicare is you're automatically going to get enrolled if you're turning 65 and collecting Social Security, or you're permanently disabled and it's the 24th month of your disability. If you're currently employed and do not want to get that coverage applied and you're collecting Social Security, you're going to have to call them and tell them not to do it. Now, if you're not collecting Social Security at all, then you'll have to self-enroll into these products, either by going online, by calling, or by going in person or sending it through the mail. Right? Remember to talk to your employer first to ensure that you are doing the right thing if you want to stay on your employer's plan. And then also talk to a Medicare insurance agent like one of ours at Vista Mutual Insurance Services to compare your options and make sure that you're still picking the plan that best suits your needs. Now, we want you to comment, ask questions on this video, please, because that allows us to give you more information and more context, and will also allow us to create more videos in the future. So please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you very much. For Joe Valenzuela and Vista Mutual Insurance Services, I'll see you next time.